Do you own a startup business? Are you aware of marketing opportunities? Connect with other youth businesses to explore and expand at this year's National Youth Agribusiness and Tourism Expo. With over 200 participants for 2 whole weeks. Yes, 2 weeks. Join the networking event trade with fashion and pitching competition to win up to $50,000 cash. $50,000 to be won. From 29th November to 12th December at the Independence Stadium. Stalls are as low as $4,000. So call 703-9499, 368-5556 or 780-9979. New Tassie Trade Fair, presented by the Gambia Youth Chamber of Commerce.
tey la bisu jongante bi ñëpp doon xaar ngir mën a xam ci diggante Fanta ak Binta kan moo ci dàq togg Binta mu ngi ak ay feemam di tablette jumbo arôme bi ñu dooleel laaj soble poobar ak ñoomin seen xet gi neex na xale yi bëgg nañ ko lool Fanta gëm na ni moo jël ndam li waaye dafa mel ni Binta moo ko nar a jël ci dëgg-dëgg ak bii arôme Binta am na ay feema yu tax mu mën a jël raw gàddu gi jumbo arôme sama cafka sama ndam.
We are live in Banjul broadcasting for viewers in the Gambia and around the world. This is Grts News in our headlines tonight. President Adama Barrow receives a delegation of traditional chiefs from Guinea Bissau. Information Minister Ibrahim Asila inaugurates a new board of directors for Digital Gambia Limited as part of efforts to digitize broadcasting in the Gambia. The Gambia under-23 male football team continues preparations ahead of the WAFU Championships to be played in Senegal in a week's time. The president of South Sudan, Salva Kiir, says parties which signed the peace deal last year are ready to form a unity government in November. That's the top of the news and much more coming ahead this hour. I am Momodin Jai. Thanks for staying with us. His Excellency Adama Barrow Friday received a delegation of traditional chiefs from Guinea Bissau who are in the country to network with their counterparts in the Gambia. This is the first such high-level engagement between the two sides and is seen as a major step forward in strengthening relations between Banjul and Bissau. Momodi Jallo reports.
Delegation is led by the Paramount Chief Fernandez and includes several high-ranking traditional rulers from Guinea-Bissau who are in the Gambia to strengthen ties with their counterparts. They were accompanied by the Gambia's ambassador to Guinea-Bissau, His Excellency Aliou K. Jammeh, who described the historic visit as highly symbolic. This visit, he added, will provide a platform for exchange of views on how to consolidate peace and mutual coexistence in the two countries. This was a view shared by Chief Yaya Jajisi of Jara, who believes that traditional rulers as custodians of culture have a prominent role in the maintenance of peace and stability in the country. This visit, he added, will foster dialogue between the two sides and their subjects who look up to them. The Bissau-Guinean ambassador in the Gambia, Bailo Gassama, called on the traditional leaders to use this historic opportunity to preach peace and unity in the sub-region, commending Barrow for what he described as his exemplary leadership, which has made the Gambia a beacon of hope and democracy. Paramount Chief Negada Fernandez said Gambians should learn lessons from the Bissau-Guinean experience and nurture peace in the country, calling on young people to exercise restraint and heed the advice of their elders. The Paramount Chief called for more engagement between the two sides to revive the historic relations between the two peoples, arguing that Guinea-Bissau and the Gambia are bound by destiny. The Minister of Tourism and Culture, Hamad N.K. Ba, described the visit as timely, as government is exploring possibilities of organizing a major festival to celebrate the Kabu heritage. He described chiefs as the custodians of tradition and culture and urged them to spearhead efforts to preserve our indigenous languages and cultures. The Minister of Local Government and Lands, Musa Drame, said President Barrow attaches great importance on the institution of chieftaincy and has taken concrete steps to restore their authority and standing in society by increasing salaries and allowances. This, he added, has placed chiefs in a better position to carry out their responsibilities as required to ensure peace and tranquility in society. The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, said he was greatly honored to receive such a distinguished delegation, describing it as an opportunity to build bridges between the peoples of the two countries. The Gambian leader said chiefs constitute an integral part of the government process, and given their proximity to the ordinary people, wield authority to influence positive behavior. He therefore urged them to utilize this to maintain peace in society, arguing that it is indispensable in the development process. The Gambian leader also called for tolerance, dialogue, and respect for the rule of law to enhance peaceful coexistence and democracy in society. As a gesture of appreciation for the warm welcome and hospitality extended to the delegation, the visiting chiefs presented traditional regalia to the President. Whilst in the Gambia, they will hold high-level discussions with their counterparts and share experiences towards consolidating peace and stability in the sub-region. Mamadou Jallow, GRTS News.
Highlights of the President's meeting with the chiefs will air tomorrow at 9 p.m. Still on the Guinea-Bissau delegation of chiefs who arrived earlier on Thursday, the National Council of Sefolu and officials of the Gambia government welcomed the Paramount Chief of Guinea-Bissau at the Jiboro border post. The 25-man delegation led by the Paramount Chief, Augusto Fernando, is here for a peace and cultural exchange visit between the sister countries. By Ibrahim Cham was at the border post and filing this report.
This is the first time ever that the Paramount Chief of Guinea-Bissau is visiting the Gambia with the aim of promoting peace and cultural integration between the two countries. Augusto Fernando was accompanied by a delegation of 25 people, including district and cultural chiefs as well as journalists. The delegation situated along the border between the Gambia and Casamance by officials of the Gambia National Council of Sefolu, the Deputy Governor of West Coast Region, and representatives of the Ministry of Local Government and Lands. Speaking shortly after the arrival of the delegation, the Chief of Upper Badibu District, Ibrahim Ajame, stated that the 5-day visit will strengthen cultural ties and facilitate exchange of ideas on matters crucial to the social-economic development of Bissau Guinea and the Gambia.
We know very well that we will have bilateral talks, all geared to achieving peace in the region. And we therefore want to welcome the Paramount Chief and his entourage. And you can see the cross-section of the chiefs who are around here. Tomorrow will be a bigger day and you will see more chiefs.
Fatou Jiba, Director of Local Governance at the Ministry of Local Government, said the Gambia and Bissau are two nations but one people, and spoke of her ministry's resolve to make the most out of this visit by the traditional rulers.
It's two nations but one people. As we greet one another, I do realize they speak Mandinka, Wolof, and Fula. That signifies the importance that it is two nations but one people.
Abdurrahman Jallow, who heads the Bissau delegation, described their trip to Banjul as the beginning of what he called a great partnership between the locals of the Gambia and Bissau.
We have no doubt that we left our country, but we have no doubt that we are at home. The history between the Gambia and Guinea Bissau is a long one. If I may say, most of the people ruling in this country or the regions of this country, their parents have their origins in Guinea Bissau. Therefore, if we are from Guinea Bissau and we come to the Gambia, it means we are at home.
The Bissau Paramount Chief, Augusto Fernando, conveyed greetings of the Bissau people and promised to later disclose the great surprise they have for the Gambia.
This is a seedling that we've planted. Whatever this seedling is going to yield, it is going to give us something fruitful between the Gambia and Guinea-Bissau. We have a lot to discuss. The history between the Gambia and Guinea-Bissau, you can be narrating it for a whole week without ending.
The delegation is set to engage in series of activities throughout the visit, including a courtesy call on the president. Reporting for GRTS News, I'm by Ibrahim Cham.
The Minister of Information and Communication Infrastructure has presided over the inauguration of the newly appointed board members of Directors for Digital Gambia Limited, a GRTS subsidiary public signal distributor for terrestrial television broadcasting in the Gambia. The inaugurated board, which comprised 11 members, is headed by Dominic Mendy. Suma Jadama reports.
Gambia's quest to migrate from analog to digital broadcasting is actually translating from theory to practice, with the appointment and inauguration of 11-member board of directors with the mandate to steer the affairs of Digital Gambia Limited. In his inaugural statement, the Minister of Information Digital Gambia Company Limited acts an important milestone for the country's broadcasting industry.
Today, we have at least reached an important point in our efforts to be part of the League of Nations that have either migrated or are in the process of total migration from analog to digital. This is an important process for the broadcasting sector, but it's also going to revolutionize what we have known in the broadcasting sector.
Digital Gambia Limited, with high technological potential to expand competitive broadcasting in the country, according to Minister Silla, requires nationwide public sensitization.
Indeed, it has been a daunting challenge, as alluded to by the Director General of the Gambia Radio and Television Services. Government has taken all steps to ensure that we meet the deadline for the migration from analog to digital by 2020. And I want to assure the board of our continuous support and collaboration in ensuring that we meet the target, and we'll continue to give you the moral and political support so that you can effectively carry out your functions.
Silla urged members of the newly appointed board to abreast themselves with policies and programs of the budget, as well as strengthen effective partnership with regulator in independently executing their mandate. The Director General Gambia Radio and Television Services, Abdou M.K. Toure, said the project will enable GRTS to initially operate 4 channels in the country.
We are all aware of the onerous task that Digital Gambia has, in view of the challenges at hand. This is a new phenomenon, trying to achieve migration for the country, something we have been yearning for a long time. But thank God now we've reached a stage, when we are all hopeful that something better will come for the Gambia.
Babukar Bai Sanyang is the overseer of Digital Gambia Limited.
We are in good hands that the board will steer the affairs of this Digital Gambia in the right direction, putting the interests of the country at heart.
Chairperson of the 11-member board of directors for Digital Gambia Limited, Dominic Mendy, commended government for the trust and confidence bestowed on them.
This journey is a journey that is not easy. If development was easy, all countries would have developed, and there would not have been irregular migration. But because development is a challenge and it is not easy, and so there is a dichotomy between those that are developed and those that are not. But the quest of every human person is to be developed. We are thankful for the privilege to be part of this journey, and we promise to take care of this infrastructure.
Digital migration in broadcasting is the process of shifting operation from analog to digital-based transmission network over a period of time until analog transmitters are gradually switched off. Suma W. Jadama reporting for GRTS.
The Minister of the Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources on Friday presided over a presentation of vehicles and tractors to the large-scale ecosystem-based adaptation project implementation partners at a ceremony held at the project head office along Battle Harding Highway. The vehicles and tractors are meant to facilitate and coordinate project activities as well as to monitor and evaluate the project life cycle in the lower central and upper river regions. The project is funded by Green Climate Fund and United Nations Environment Program UNEP. Usman Mane reports.
Livelihoods of majority of rural Gambians are eroding as a result of the degrading environment and the country's dwindling natural resources, as most of the communities depend for livelihood. To address this increasing threat, EBA project was born through the Ministry of Environment, supported by the United Nations Environment Program. 3 Toyota Fortuner and 5 tractors are meant for project implementing partners and the communities of LRR, CRR, and URR.
The long-term sustainability of this project, even after the project, that is what we want to achieve. And this cannot be achieved without effectively engaging the rural communities and building their capacities to ensure that even whereas the project winds up, there should be capacity on the ground to be able to continue with the project.
In his welcome remarks, the project manager, Lamin Nyangado, said the vehicle seeks to support the implementation of restoring forest areas as the project is committed to capacitize communities to ensure resilience to climate change.
Basically, we have bought these tractors to be able to support the implementation of our restoration programs, both in the forest regions and also the degraded agricultural areas. One principal aspect of the work of the tractors is to help us create fire belts, which we all know is a serious problem that we face with in terms of forest protection.
The project aims to build the climate resilience of rural Gambian communities and facilitate the development of sustainable natural resource-based economy. And the Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources, Lamin B. Diba, outlined the benefits of the multi-million-dollar project that runs for 6 years.
The EBA project shall rehabilitate 7,000 hectares of degraded forest land. And of course, when we say forest, forest goes with wildlife. Protected areas through restoration, enrichment planning, conservation of rare and endangered species, as well as restoration of 3,000 hectares of degraded agricultural land.
Minister Diba noted the fleets of vehicles will facilitate the continuous engagement between policy and practice towards sustaining work at field levels, and further advised the beneficiaries to judiciously use the vehicles for the purpose meant.
When implemented as planned, which I am quite optimistic, the EBA project will directly benefit up to 11,550 Gambian households, with the potential to indirectly reach further 42,200 households in targeted regions of CRR, URR, and LRR. We make sure that 50% of the beneficiaries of this project are women. And I believe everyone here would agree with me. Women interact more with the environment than any one of us here.
Beneficiaries Masawane, Director of Community Development, and Chernogay from the Forestry Department assured the judicious use of the vehicles. Usman Mane, GRTS.
It has been a busy few days for the new Minister of Defense, Honorable Sheikh Omar Faye. Just barely days after paying a courtesy call to the Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, Minister Faye followed up that with a visit to the Defense Headquarters in Banjul, where he held discussions with Deputy Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Yakubu Drame, Navy Commander Madani Senghor, and members of the Gambia Armed Forces Command. The visit comes at a pivotal period as the government of the Gambia accelerates efforts in actualizing the security sector reforms. Well, joining us to discuss this important visit is the Defense Minister himself, Honorable Sheikh Omar Faye. Welcome to GRTS News. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, first, Honorable Minister, how was the settling period been since your appointment as new Minister of Defense?
Alhamdulillah, quite interesting. But I'm lucky. I have my permanent secretary, deputy permanent secretary, the staff, my colleagues in cabinet, and everybody supporting to give me what they called a soft landing. So I have to say thank you, family, and all of them. Yes, they're helping me settle down gradually.
Good. Now, what are the most pressing issues in the tray of undertakings, and as government is revitalizing the security sector?
Security sector reforms, implementation of the recommendations, where the government of the Gambia, the political will is there. We have our partners. A lot of work has been done, and now we're in the execution phase. That is what dominates us right now, and we want to get it right, make sure that the reforms go in place, because it's a question of the institution being taken care of. So far, that's what is our priority.
Good. Now, let us look at your engagements today and the previous weeks. You have had visits to the defense headquarters and met with service chiefs. Tell us more about these engagements.
Quite interesting. I got a very warm reception from General Masani Kinte, who is the Chief of Defense Staff, with his entire headquarters. Of course, I have visited Foreign Ministry, the Ministry of Interior, Economic Forces, several diplomats, ambassadors. There is a lot also going on behind the scenes here and there, but that's what defense is about.
Exactly.
So yes, it's been quite busy, but that's what we need to do. We have to go to work, and you know, my staff and the defense and all these collaborators are coming together so that we can achieve our aim as a team.
Now, what have you learned so far, and how much is, or how is this going to impact the future transformation of our armed and security services?
Quite interesting. I'm listening to the general officers. I'm listening to senior officers, the ordinary soldier, even the civilians at the Ministry of Defense, so that I have a general idea of where we are. Quite interesting. Like, for example, yesterday I was at the family house in Banjul, where you have a handful of women coming to disburse funds and trying to help and I gave them advices that security starts with yourself.
Okay.
Security is no more about holding guns in the streets. Security is about briefing people, updating them, sensitizing them, because it involves everybody. Security is everybody's business. So, I mean, it's quite interesting. We're together, and we're moving forward as a country. I mean, we're trying to reconcile, learn from our mistakes, and look for avenues of redress so that our sons and daughters will not make the mistakes that we have done. That's the purpose of it.
That's quite encouraging, Honorable Minister. But finally, what should we expect in the next coming weeks and months?
Good question. The first thing that also took me to the headquarters today, I was very impressed with the quarter garage. So I had to congratulate General Drame, Madani, and of course the Army Commander, General Cham, Mamad. I've known these people all towards mid-80s we were together. But the President sent a message. He asked me to extend his appreciation on behalf of his government and the entire Gambian population. They've held the fort. It was quite difficult the last couple of decades, and he realizes that, and he wants me to tell them thank you for their service, but they all promise that we're going to come together and move forward. Quite encouraging.
Good. We're going to come together and move forward. That is from the Honorable Minister of Defense, Sheikh Omar Faye, talking to us here on GRTS News. Thank you very much, Honorable, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yeah. That was Honorable Sheikh Omar Faye, Minister of Defense of the Gambia, talking to us about his visit to the Gambia Armed Forces Defense Headquarters and his discussions with service chiefs. And now to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and Gambians Abroad of the Republic of the Gambia, who have issued this release extending their profound apologies to the government of the People's Republic of China for the typographical error contained in the President's State of the Nation address. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs conveys its deepest regret and reassures the People's Republic of China of the Gambia's adherence and commitment to the One China policy and strengthening of the excellent bilateral ties between the two countries, the release concludes. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, with funding from the United Nations Development Program, wrapped up a 5-day step-down training on results-based monitoring and evaluation for sectoral and regional planners held at a local hotel in Brufut. The objective of the training is to build the capacities of participants on results-based management performance indicators, monitoring and evaluation and reporting, and introduction to the Gambia Integrated Monitoring and Evaluation System. Aissatou Keita reports.
Participants are drawn from various area councils and the 2 municipalities within the country for an intensive training on results-based management and performance indicators, among other subjects. The objective here is to ensure the knowledge learned in the next 5 days is relayed to more people and their respective colleagues in various regions. Underscoring the efforts played by the Ministry of Finance in meeting the program agenda, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Lands recognized the collective endeavor driving national development planning.
To first of all thank the Directorate of Planning for being there for this ministry, always remembering us in their planning. As the country cannot move if the center leaves the local authorities behind. So he has been a director who has always put in the local authorities in his planning. And we thank you and your unit for that. I want to relate this your training to the decentralized session agenda of the Ministry of Lands, Regional Government, under the Religious Affairs.
Monitoring and evaluation are crucial public management tools for improving the effectiveness, efficiency, accountability, and transparency of the government's policy development and implementation programs.
It is in this regard that the government of the Gambia, in its efforts to decentralize socio-economic development through local governance, that regional development planners form a significant proportion of the participants at this training workshop. This clearly indicates that as a government, we recognize the crucial role that planning plays in socio-economic development across the country.
Padera further called on participants to judiciously employ the information learned and sensitize their colleagues in various regions.
To you who are just newly recruited as development planners, we encourage you to persistently exhibit a strong drive for results. Probably this is the reason why some of you decided to join the public sector and to offer your services to your country.
Lamin Mari, a participant from the Lower River region, welcomed the initiative and promised that the knowledge gain will be effectively used to support national programs. The 25 participants are now expected to share their experiences across all facets in their various regions. For Grts News, this is Aissatou Keita.
The National Environment Agency on Thursday organized a press briefing at the agency's head office in Kanifing. The objective, as Khadija Tujalo reports, is to sensitize stakeholders and send a strong message through the media on the importance of the upcoming International Coastal Cleanup Day schedule for Saturday, 21st September 2019.
That Saturday of September every year is set aside as International Coastal Cleanup Day. The theme for this year's commemoration is Heal the Bay. The National Environment Agency, with support from its development partners, has continued to observe the day with excitement. But to the Executive Director and the Program Manager E-Delegation in the Gambia, Darrell Sexton, the importance of keeping the environment clean and need to sensitize the public on plastic waste is crucial.
And we know from research that's been done that there is considerable amounts of plastic waste solution in the marine environment. that's impacting on at least 700 species of fish and aquamarine life. You know, you've probably seen yourself pictures of turtles with plastic bags around their necks or birds. It's common throughout the world to see this sort of thing now, and it's becoming increasingly aware that it's impacting the eco-marine system. Not only is it affecting biodiversity, but it's also affecting the health of the animals.
Waste management continues to be a challenge in developing countries, particularly in the Gambia, despite set policies and regulations, which over time has become difficult to implement. The Executive Director of NEA, Dudu Tarawale, explains some of their challenges.
Has banned it. So it means, you know, because we have a very porous border with them, our inspectors are just limited. We cannot have inspectors at every single corner. We are partnering with GRA, and they have been very helpful in this. At least on a number of occasions, they've seized a large quantity of this, which we've been aware of. But then the smuggle across the border is a problem. So that's what is affecting most of the, that's in fact one of the major problems why we cannot still control these things.
Dauda Baji, an NEA official, reiterated the importance of creating awareness on issues relating to environmental hazards, and this, he said, the media has a crucial role to play.
If we started from ourselves, your comment here is very, very important. If you see an area that is one of the dirtiest beach, you can have a documentary. Go to some of these areas, make a documentary, come up with very fascinating evidence.
No, the Gambia, we are in a global village. We can continue to show the world that we are dirty. So we should work towards keeping the environment clean. And I think if people, the elderly people cannot change their attitude, I think you should concentrate more on the schools so that generations coming, things will change. Leading by example, the EU representative said they are not only supporting environmental initiatives financially, but will join the crusade and encourage others to be there to support the initiative.
On behalf of the EU delegation, Ambassador Attila Lahoz, I'm very privileged to be able to hand to you some fuel coupons for tomorrow's International Beach Cleanup Day on Saturday, sorry, not tomorrow. We as the EU delegation will be participating as we did do last year. We're extremely grateful for the opportunity to do so, and we encourage the government and citizens of Gambia to continue to clean up your beaches.
The NEA boss, Dudu Tarawale, expressed appreciation for the partnership, noting that they cannot do it all alone. The International Coastal Cleanup Day exercise is scheduled for Saturday, 21st September, around coastal settlements, and environmental activists, as well as stakeholders, are urged to participate on the exercise. Khadijatu Jallo, reporting for Grts News.
The Minister of Education, Honorable Claudiana Cole, has revisited Nyakoi Sutukonding Lower Basic School to assess ongoing rehabilitation works at the destroyed classroom block following the recent windstorm that hit the community. As Seidu Kamara reports, the minister also led a tree planting exercise at the school grounds.
Recall that Upper River region was hit by a heavy windstorm at the beginning of this year's rainy season, which affected homes and schools in the region. The Regional Education Director for Region 6, Bakari Sise, highlighted the importance of planting trees, particularly in school premises.
Because we believe if we had planted trees around the schools, we could have mitigated on these kinds of damages. So she has also taken upon herself to do some tree transplanting with the school in order to protect these buildings, these ones and the others to come from these kinds of damages in the future. Basically, that's why we are here today, and you can see we have planted some trees, and she planted the first one.
The Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, Claudiana Cole, make another visit to Nyakoi Lower Basic School to assess the level of rehabilitations of the damaged buildings as school resumes from summer holiday.
I decided to come back because when I came 2 months ago, and I went around to see the damages that were done, I did say that it was quite unfortunate that we had all these damages to our classrooms in our schools. And the ministry, unfortunately, does not have a disaster management fund, and we were going to look for support. And since I left here, I have been looking for support. I've been talking to people, pleading with people to help us to do the damaged classrooms. So fortunately for us, MRC Holland Foundation came to our aid to do this school. But it's because of the rains. They could not have started the work earlier, and they have started now. And I want to believe, like I said, that the contractors that we engage to do our schools are very serious. They are very much sympathetic to our plight for need of space for the increasing enrollment in our schools. And I'm sure in a few weeks' time, they will finish this work and the children will be able to have new classrooms to go into.
Minister Cole believes that the structure which is under rehabilitation will soon be completed, and thank partners like the MRC Holland Foundation for the support.
MRC Holland Foundation is going to do rehabilitation. Already they are even building new classroom blocks in several schools. Yes. But this time around, they're going to be doing rehabilitation here in Nyakoi, in Nyankui, and in Baniko Ismaila. They will rehabilitate the damaged classrooms, and not only that, but they will build additional classrooms. I know it's good to have trees around buildings to serve as windbreakers when strong winds come. It would not put us in a situation in which we are with this damaged block. As you could see, there are not enough trees in the school. There are a few, but they need to have more trees because the place is a bit bare, the community itself. I ask that when schools reopen, every child should come with a seedling to plant in the school, within the compound, and around the school fence. And so I decided today to practicalize that appeal. I decided to plant a tree myself, together with the Alcalo and one of our construction supervisors. We've planted the first trees this year.
The minister also used the opportunity to plant mango trees in the school premises. She urged the teachers to encourage the students to plant trees around the fence of the school to serve as windbreakers, as well as provide shades and food for the people in the community and the school at large. Seydou Camara reporting for Grts News from Basse Upper River Region. It could be recalled that
Africell Gambia Limited has signed a sponsorship deal with 5 major Nawetan centers in the Gambia. The package is estimated at more than $1 million, covering the zonal Nawetan League competitions. Maria Matiba has more in this story.
Nawetan zones in the Greater Banjul area have received financial assistance from Africell as part of a sponsorship deal signed between the GSM company and 5 major Nawetan centers. The signing ceremony, which was held at the Africell head office along the Kairaba Avenue, was attended by top officials of Africell, the beneficiary zone, and a cross-section of the football fraternity. The sponsorship deal will cover the League Cups of Serakunda East, Bakau, Sukuta, Birkama, and Brufut Nawetan centers. The total package amounts to close to $1 million, including both cars and kind. According to Musa Sise, head of Africell Corporate Affairs, the GSM company has made tremendous strides in supporting football across the country.
We have the contracts and the commitments that the teams are going to commit themselves to. We are going to support their leagues. We are going to support every individual single player in all the Nawetan zones that are being played in the Greater Banjul area. They will all benefit because everybody is going to get credit. Everybody is going to get credit. That has never been done in the history of this country. You are a player playing in all the zones, we will fill your phone with an Africell credit.
Hussein Diab Ghanem, Operations Director at Africell, emphasized the importance of sports and the need for his company to support the Nawetan zones.
We'll be sponsoring some of the major leagues in the GBA and in the upcountry. Our brothers and sisters, Sidahgi, we are not forgotten. We're going to be supporting them as well. We are going to be supporting the communities, we'll be supporting the games, we'll be supporting trophies and jerseys, and we are generally going to show our support on the ground in as many games as we can.
Lanto Montamba, third Vice President of the Gambia Football Federation, thanked AfriCell for collaborating with the zones to promote football.
For this wonderful collaboration with the Gambia Football Federation, anything that has got to do with supporting the youths in the area of football, I think the Gambia Football Federation will view that as a great support in its right direction. The players that AfriCell continues to support will grow and become professionals, whereby they'll have the opportunity to play for the national team. So that is why I said it's a plus for the Gambia Football Federation.
Sokoto Youth and Sports Association, Bakau Sports Committee, Brufut Youth and Sport Development Association, and Serakunda East Sports Organization and Birkama Youth and Sports Association were the ones that benefited from the package. The sponsorship deal is expected to boost Nawetan centers to better organize their respective summer football jamborees, locally called Nawetan. For GRTS News, I am Maria Madiba.
We will be back after this short break. Stay tuned.
Special Economic Zone is a 160-hectare mixed-use business park strategically located within the boundaries of Banjul International Airport, the Gambia. It is the only economic zone located within an airport in West Africa. Gaitaf Special Economic Zone is segmented into 4 separate zones: Commercial Zone, Industrial and Light Manufacturing, Logistics and Warehousing, Residential Zone. It is a highly secured economic zone with top-notch infrastructure, with eco-friendly buildings and beautiful landscaping. With attractive incentives and access to a pool of labor within the Gambia and the sub-region, the Gaitaf Special Economic Zone has already completed warehouses available to investors. Located less than 30 minutes away from the international seaport of Banjul, investors in the Special Economic Zone will enjoy a unique proximity to major markets around the world, including Africa, Europe, America, and Asia. For additional information, please visit www.gaitaf.com.
Hey Abi, why only help? Sama bopp bi ma fi newu sama tànn béer ba jaara soma ba tey gaa ngi seet nu ma joxe sama avance bi nga mënuma say jot.
waaye xanaa xamul leen Afri Money.
Afri lan?
ak sa AfriCell line bi mun ngaa jot wala ñu yónnee la xaalis foo munti nekk si Gambia bi.
Ah, li moom neex na
te des na sax ak sa Afri Money service mun ngaa jënd cash power ba lu toll si $7,000 wala sax nga jënd si sa crédit yokk sa bonus.
ci AfriCell dëgg askan wi ngeen fi nekk. yow may joxati dama koy jox si Afri Money. soo ma yónni dama koy jox si Afri Money. xalala na star 777 house.
Back to the news. Before we end this newscast, a quick look at the top stories once again. President Adama Barrow has received a delegation of traditional chiefs from Guinea Bissau. Information Minister Ibrahim Silla has inaugurated a new board of directors for Digital Gambia Limited as part of ongoing efforts to digitize broadcasting in the Gambia. The Gambia under-23 male football team is continuing preparations ahead of the WAFU Regional Championships to be played in Senegal in a week's time. The President of South Sudan, Salva Kiir, said parties which signed the peace deal last year are ready to form a government of unity in November. Well, that was all in this edition of the News at 8. Join me at 10 o'clock again. Until then, I am your presenter, Mumudi Jai.
Most rural Gambians have had little or no access to electricity. Supply shortages and high costs have made it difficult to expand electricity to rural households and businesses. Improving livelihoods by bringing affordable and reliable electricity to rural Gambians is a priority for NAWEC. In a great sign of cooperation between the Gambia and Senegal, their two utilities, NAWEC and Senelec, worked with the World Bank to develop a cross-border electrification project. This project provides reliable electricity surplus from Senegal to Gambians in the North Bank and Lower River regions. The impact of this project on local lives has been great. For small business owners, reliable electricity has meant